Hello, lovelies. This is 5 Minute Manifesting. I'm your host, Lovey Brown. Thank you so much for listening. Today, I just want to cover some basics about detachment. Detachment is not needing your desire. Now, unless you're manifesting something that is essential for your basic human survival, clean water, shelter, most of the things that we're manifesting aren't necessary for survival on the planet in physical reality. And so you don't need what it is you're manifesting. However, sometimes we can feel like we really do need it. And I know from some manifesting that I've been doing recently that shift, that internal shift of just grasping at it and being like, oh, I need it. I need it. It can happen really fast, even though I know intellectually in that moment, even when this feeling comes up for me, that I don't need it. And so, but I still have to work to get the feeling to kind of like subside, maybe stop what I'm doing. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it, is that it's not really a struggle that I'm having recently, but it's definitely something that is coming up and then going away, coming up and then going away for me. So that feeling when you're manifesting something, and it just feels like, for me, it feels like desperation. And the words that I say in my head are like, oh, I need this to happen. I need this to happen. I mean, and I catch myself most of the time and I'm like, oh, I don't need this to happen. I want to shift out of this. And sometimes a lot of times the feeling still lingers in that moment. And I know it's really best for me when I'm getting into this feeling to stop what I'm doing and to focus my attention on somewhere else, do something different. And sometimes I choose that and sometimes I don't choose that. And so let's just talk about what that is. So for you, when you're doing this, you have to identify that moment when you're thinking about your desire. Maybe you're even actively engaged in something that has to do with your desire. Like maybe you're in a text conversation with your specific person and it's not going exactly the way you want it to. And so inside of yourself, that sort of desperate, that's a feeling that I, used to describe the way I feel. Maybe you don't feel that way, but kind of grabby, kind of your stomach dropping, kind of like you have to get a result. That sort of feeling when it comes up, it is not the best place to manifest from. Now, you don't have to manifest from a place of like perfect peace. You don't have to manifest from a place of like constant ease. You don't have to feel totally right to get your feelings totally right the whole time you're manifesting. And in fact, sometimes I'm having a really bad day and I manifest exactly what I want. So it's not necessarily about feeling perfect. It's definitely not about that. But I do think dissipating this feeling of desperateness, or attachment, like you're attached to this outcome, does help your manifesting. So when we're in the midst of that feeling, I think what's important for me is that I notice, oh, wait a minute, I'm really attached to this outcome. I really want this very particular outcome in this very particular moment. What can I do to relax myself? Now, we've talked about before, it might have been even a year ago or multiple years ago, the loophole of I'm a human and humans have feelings like this. I can have these feelings and manifest this anyway. I like to be careful for myself to not use that loophole as an excuse to just let myself perpetuate those feelings of attachment and I really, really want this and whatever, right? And so that's what I do, because I can really, a lot of us can, but I can really grab onto something and use it as an excuse to not shift, even though I know shifting is going to be the better thing for my manifestation. That's something that some of us do sometimes. It's something that I certainly do. And so once you've identified that you have that feeling, there's the loophole you can acknowledge. Then I just acknowledge, I don't need this. I don't need this. And I think I try to shift my thoughts to the things that I already have that indicate I don't need this to happen. I want this to happen. I would be so thrilled if this happened. I'm so excited for this thing to happen. And I don't need it to happen. I don't need it to happen. And so that sometimes works for me. Now, if I'm doing, like I said the text conversation with your specific person, if I'm doing something like looking at my finances and it's a money manifestation, I will sometimes be like, I need to stop doing this activity and do something different. That works for me, and maybe that could work for you. And I just purposefully choose to do a different activity that I'm doing that's got me sort of focused on my attachment to this particular desire. And if that idea, I need this, pops into my head, that I know of in this attachment moment, and I just need to shift out of it. And it's not a big deal. Like it's totally fine. Like you don't have to put a lot of pressure on yourself or shame yourself or make it a problem that this happened. You're just like, oh, okay, yeah, this happened. I'm just going to shift and do something else. You can be really light and easy about it. You can be like, this is not a big deal. And if you find it where when you're telling yourself to shift out of something, you just can't, this is the next step I do. Like if I find myself there, I don't want to go do something else. I'm not going to do something else. I just accept it. I accept, okay, well, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm really attached to this desire. I really want this desire. And I'm going to sit in this attachment. I'm going to sit in this feeling of need until naturally my attention is drawn to something else. And so then I just shift from like trying to shift out of it, because sometimes that works. And if I can't get it to work, then I just sit in it. I'm just like, okay, yeah, I need it. I think right now I need it. That's where I am. That's fine that that's where I am. I'm just going to feel this feeling while this feeling is here. And then eventually, like you're not going to sit in one sort of feeling state for very long, really ever. If you just pay attention to your feelings. Now, like you can think about a certain desire a whole lot. You really can. But you're not going to sit in that peak moment of like desperate neediness for all the minutes of your whole day. Right? So if you make that choice to consciously say like, yeah, I'm just going to sit here for right now. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to do it. Eventually that has to come to an end, and it will come to an end. And then you just refocus. You start your manifesting routine or process over. And you're like, what do I want? I want this thing. And then you imagine it, or you do whatever focusing work you want to do. Then you acknowledge that this is possible for you. Then you acknowledge that you don't need it. You want it. You don't need it. And then you move on with your life. And that's manifesting. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. Thank you so much for listening. May you manifest exactly what you want.